All right, guys, let's go. Let's go. I'm Matt. What's up? I've never seen you before. Well, welcome. First one to chat. Receive a prize later on. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I don't have much money. Everything's stuck in Gamestop, you guys. So that was a joke. So don't take that. Okay, so let's talk about GMA. Everybody is waiting to see what's going on for tomorrow and the announcement that is coming in. I'm so excited. But let's talk about the price action real quick, okay? Now, of course, we've seen the price up and down. It really doesn't matter, okay? But you could see that there's a little bit of kind of recovery a little bit here. But I still feel that there's some more downside. But it seems like I was still looking at this gap over here. Okay, so that's what I'm waiting still to see if there's any immediate gap refill over there. As far as the other level, I don't see any gaps down here, so I don't imagine that they're dumb enough to even, bring it down to that price. But who knows? Tariffs, people are scared, and do all sorts of stuff when they get scared. So they don't really typically think about what they're selling. It's just like, oh, I want to get out now. So just be on the lookout for that. So in that case, obviously Wednesday might be the time in which they are, able to bring it down so quickly. And long and behold, there you go. I see that little gap fill there, but it's still a wick, right? So it could still come down here just to, again, interact with that price level right there. Seems canning, right? It seems like this is the bounce. So I was thinking about adding more call option, but I didn't this time. So I was like, oh, maybe Wednesday. So I'm gonna wait until Wednesday. Although tomorrow could be the day, that send the rocket. Yeah. Announcement from who? I don't know. One little tiny company that people forgot about. Hey, what's up? Carter's in the house. Okay. Yes. Hi, Anthony. What's up? Okay. China to the moon. What's up with China? Okay. Chinese Communist Party. Okay. If it goes to under 20, I'll have to buy more, even if I'm all right with my actual position. Of course, again, is it going to be under 20? I'm just expecting this gap to fill, that's all. But again, any amount of time they could stall, they're going to try to stall as much as they can. But the inevitably, people are going to be like, how can you be fooled at this point in time? Because even at this price level, you guys, this is 50% equity right now. At the moment, 50%. And then if they're buying Bitcoin with it, what do you think is going to happen over time? The floor will keep rising. I'm telling you, Bitcoin is set up to be, the next 10x from here, which is, $600,000 to $800,000 a coin. This coming up, this end of year. Okay, again, that's a bullish price target. Bearish price target is 300. If things doesn't go well, it's 150,000. So again, base case and worst case scenario, 150,000. Best case scenario is $800,000 a coin. So again, entering into this asset class, you've had a lot of people rooting for that, like even like waiting for GME to do that, right? And so that's going to bring a lot of people, a lot of buzz again, a lot of traders again, volatility and the likes. Now, micro strategies just add more Bitcoin. Like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy, but it's just very bullish, right? And I think he bought like close to $2 billion today. Crazy, but he did it based on some preferred shares, some units that he created again to be diluted in the later date. So yeah, GMEs could follow the same footstep, you guys. So I'm sure people are going to be, looking into GME. Are they gonna be able to beat, Bitcoin per share than MicroStrategy? So, like I said, I feel like Ryan Cohen doesn't do things half-assedly. If he does thing, he wants to be number one, at the number one spot, and not taking anything lightly. But not to say that it's going to happen, in a couple of years. But if he's really serious about acquiring Bitcoin, I think he's going to do it to the best of his ability, and safely for also, right? To when it makes sense. At the time. Let's see. So, what's it from today? Right here. So he's purchasing $1.92 billion, and that's giving him a average price. I mean, I guess he bought it at an average price of 86,000. Right now, MicroStrategy has a what is this? 67,000 per coin. And so they created, these two. It's a little bit different, like a strike price, preferred common stocks and all that stuff. So I have to read a little bit more about it. But currently, we only kind of copy the convertible bond route. So eventually, these type of instrument for institution to get their hands on, shares of GameStop, but I really think that this is a strategy for institutional involvement. Yes, retail is gonna get bogged down too, but as long as you understand the volatility, that volatility favors the faithful. Just like how Michael Saylor would say it, how volatility shouldn't be scaring anyone. If anything, it is a gift to the faithful, right? To the loyalty shareholder that have been holding it for a long time and really believing in the company in and of itself, the success that it could come. Even holding this type of asset class. Yes, you're gonna see the ups and downs swing, but just know that it could only go up from here. Just don't screw it up, okay? Like, don't be trying to chase buying at the top like $1,000 a coin, thinking it's going to $1,000 a share, and thinking it's gonna give you $100,000 a share. Just be responsible. Whatever price you want to exit out, that's on you. I have my own price set up, but again, keep in mind, that spikes can be violent on the downside as well. Okay, there's a lot of price target out there. I'm not gonna even go through with it because I don't claim to know how high it's gonna go. I just know that anything above 20, it's a good price point at the moment. Currently it's 22, right? So this is a cheap stock to be in. Keep in mind, right now, if you buy it, I would just say about 50% equity, and the same liquid over here too. So if you were to buy it over here, okay, because during this time, we were able to add a lot of asset. And so that asset is kind of increasing the floor of the same equity level in which you were the same as if you're buying down here. And right now, even the potential of even higher than that because of the Bitcoin narrative, okay? Now, of course, in the immediate short term, I am looking for it to fill this gap, this giant gap here. It's sure to gonna get it's gonna be sure to get into that for in a short period of time here. So just in a lookout for that. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit longer than we think. They could still try their best again to scare more people out after the tariffs announcement. Again, depends, right? If people are freaking out, you might be able to see it at $18, just a brief moment in time. Okay. Depends on the announcement tomorrow. What if GME went all in on Bitcoin? That's going to be massive. But, at the same time, they could still, cause that market disturbance after Trump's announced, his Liberation Day or whatever. Whatever that is, right? People are also kind of, it's uncertain as well. What if he's going to be like, well, you know what? We're not going to do tariffs. What do you think is going to happen to the price of anything, right? So it's remained to be seen. It could be just a fake out effect to try to get out of the country, to bow down to, the power that is, which is the U.S. economy, U.S. consumer. People want access to U.S. consumer for sure. And so that means something, right? The market in which they could sell. And businesses love, markets highly, deepening of the markets that there are. But anyway, why am I going on and off? It's like I make no sense whatsoever. I'm sorry, you guys. I feel like I'm on the high right now. I don't know what to say because tomorrow I'm like, what what if immediately it's going to like 500,000 a share? I mean, it could be that crazy, right? Nah, it'd be too crazy. So let me just settle with just, like this right here. How about this wedge? Tomorrow, upon the announcement, it just immediately goes to $50. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at all. But anyway, so if GME were to buy $6 billion worth of Bitcoin, to me, that's lethal. Like, that's lethal because we're going to be able to accumulate this. See, I think it's this. But hold on, let me try to do some calculations over here. Sorry, you guys, I'm just playing around today. What's going on? I hope, you're not here for any new information. It's just me playing around with numbers here. Hold on. Let's see. I'm looking at Bitcoin price right now. Okay, so it perked up a little bit. It used to be at 81,000. So it's kind of make a recovery a little bit, right? But just like anything else, if the stock market goes down, of course, people are scared about the tariffs, uncertainty, and all that stuff. And then come Wednesday, right? GME announced buying of Bitcoin. Come Wednesday, smack the price down to 60. So that's going to be the excuse, or again, depends on how the amount of Bitcoin it's going to be announced on the balance sheets, or it's not going to be announced at all. It's just going to be saying, okay, we are doing a completion already of the bonds, right? And we now have, $1.5 billion complete. So with just that announcement alone, obviously that's immediately going to add some value to the balance sheets at the moment. Okay. And whether that's going to be huge for the price action. Hold on. Okay, my prediction. I feel like it's going to trade here in the morning, skyrocket, and then come back down. On Wednesday, it's just all in one day up, and then Wednesday announcement of tariffs of everything, reciprocation tariffs, right? Okay, and then when that happened, obviously you just stay calm and just note at the fact that hey, now we have $6 billion worth of money to possibly buy Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin does the same thing, right? Upon the announcement, it might does this for the whole day and then boom on Wednesday, right? Because I mean, when it drops really rapidly. But then it goes over here for this trend line. What if it's going to be steeper? A little steeper. Again, this is consolidation thing, right? I mean, it's nothing new. So my expectation is going to be like that. It's gonna scare the bejesus out of people. I'm telling you. Does this? But then Jimmy has the ability to get it at this price. That's where micro strategy is. Okay. So I mean, Ryancoin could be that amazing, you guys. Just time it at the bottom right there. Oh my goodness! What if we were able to get it that? People are gonna be like, oh, new micro strategy. There you go. So with that, how many coins? Hold on. Let me do it the other way. $6 billion possibly could go into Bitcoin at this price here. Ooh, my heart. That would give some people a heart attack, I feel. I mean, okay. But that's again the most bullish case scenario, right? So keep in mind this might not happen, but I'm all for it. If this is going on, the Bitcoiners gonna run wild. The GME is gonna run wild, right? Well, it depends. If you don't like Bitcoin, right? You might be running the other way. But oh man, this would be the best case scenario. Now, people are not gonna see it at that moment when if GME were to buy it at this price point right here. Of course, everything is what if, right? If the price coming down that low, if Ryan Cohen's gonna use the whole $6 billion, rip the band-aid off, get that much Bitcoin onto the balance sheet, and just never add it anymore, right? Again, even if he does that and never add it anymore, and then just use that to operate the company, whatever see fit, right? That also will keep the company survive too. With just again because with $6 billion, they would still have. Hold on. They would still have $100 million. Okay. And so since we're not burning much cash, you guys, this is all we need. $100 million in the coffer and then $6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Ryan, please do this. I know you listen to my show. I know. But anyway, this would be best case scenario in my mind. Of course, I know people might think that I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, even with $100 million, operationally, just using that to operating GME as is. Again, it's a small store. A small company, right? With a small footprint, we could do it for at least how long? Let me see. Like operating income, we could survive for at least another 10 years on just this alone, right? With the business, assuming that, the business is not gonna burn, quote unquote, burn money. So even at this rate of burn, this is a trailing 12, right? So keep in mind, this is a year, you guys. In a year, we only burn this much. I know. People are like, oh, they're losing money. Okay, well, how much? And how much are they getting? Have in cash? Get divided by. Let's just assume that next year, Esk hit the fan, and recession is looming. Nobody's spending money at all. Yes, we're gonna cut more store for sure. That's gonna be coming. We all know, right, that he's planning to sell Canadian store and the French. So we know that is coming. And so the expense is going to be low. We're not going to be able to make money. We could technically survive for, well, I don't know, assuming we're losing, let's say, $25 million every year, right? So we still have 4 years to go, right? With that $100 million in cash. Now, of course, if that were to announce, right, and then the market crash, it could cascade the price down a little bit. But I'm telling you, even it comes down to like $50,000, people are gonna scoop it up like crazy. It hits the escape velocity already because, the worst case scenario, in my mind, you would see Bitcoin at around this level here. The next, the second best right here, because it does that before right here. But that's not even in the bull market though. See, that's the COVID. No, not even COVID. Sorry, COVID is down here. COVID is down here. This is whatever happened at the time. And so the worst case scenario, it's going to come down here. That's it. And people were like, because good luck, try to wait it down here. It would never, I'm telling you, would never come down to $14,000. Are you telling me if you see Bitcoin at $14,000, you wouldn't buy at least, a couple hundred of it? So the point is that, it's going to be difficult for people not to buy it at this point. Even with the worst case scenario, recessioning type of thing. But, people only care about how many Bitcoins do you have. Remember, Bitcoin per share. Now, at this Bitcoin amount on the balance sheet, you could really, calculate Bitcoin per share. Right? So we could do that real quick here. So assuming they could get it that level of MicroStrategy divided by how many shares there are right now. Currently is this much. So this much with the power of 4. So that how you would express that, it would be let's see, 0.000197 Bitcoin per share. So that's a new metric that these Bitcoiners gonna look into. So the more Bitcoin per share in a company, Bitcoin is gonna be more enticed to hold this type of company. Okay. And MicroStrategy, they have their own, metric there. I don't know. I don't remember what his rates of shares versus Bitcoin on the balance sheets here. So of course the goal is to beat MicroStrategy, right? And it's coming. It's coming. Depends on how many people are enthused. Okay, enthused on this. All right, so enough playing. I am going to show you a couple of video. Not this one. Somewhere. Okay, I feel like people see this one already. Oh no, did I not have it on? Okay, you guys, sorry about that. I am trying to find... No. It's kind of annoying because I keep forgetting to set it up. I think... Not that one. Okay, watch later. Here we go.
Think your taxes are simple? You could file for free with H&R Block. More people qualify for H&R Block free.
That boy is our last hope.
Okay, so this is going to be a reaction video for sure. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit here. Now, this gentleman is just, again, very... I feel... don't understand what Jimmy is at the moment, I feel like. But again, falling into the wagon of people who are, don't understand what this is about. Even though he's the Bitcoiner himself, right? So let's listen in.
Dollars in cash sitting there, the melting ice cube, they need to spend it on something. So hey, let's buy some Bitcoin. For the people that aren't familiar with GameStop, GameStop has very loyal shareholders, and Ryan Cohen, who is the CEO of GameStop, has been able to cultivate this kind of cult-like following. Some people even believing that he's attempting to turn GameStop into the next Berkshire Hathaway. How is he going to do that? You might be wondering. GameStop has diluted their shareholders and reined in expenses at the same time, and have amassed, as I said before, about $5 billion. So the question is, how much of that are they going to put into Bitcoin? Number two, is this really just a stunt to continue providing attention for GameStop? Because as you guys will see when we break down their financial picture, they're actually struggling, right? Their business isn't actually growing. And finally, is all of this hype deserved? Without further ado, let's take a high-level snapshot here of GameStop's financial picture. So 2024, their revenue was $4.33 billion. Now that does sound amazing, but just in terms of context, keep in mind that's a 24% decline year over year. GameStop has been working on reducing their expenses. In Q1 of 2024, their expenses were about $290 million to $300 million, compared to, in 2023, their expenses were $345.7 million. The cost of the revenue in 2024 was $3.164 billion, leaving them a gross profit of $1.17 billion, which obviously could be making you think, yay, that's amazing. They earned $1 billion that they could actually spend, right? That would indicate that they have profit. However, the operating expense was $1.2 billion. So that actually, unfortunately, ended up resulting in a slight operating loss. So they are not actually cash flow positive from operations. And as you guys know about my take on MSTR, that is one of my biggest fears with public companies. It's fine and dandy that people are excited about
Oh my goodness, you guys. How long have I been muted? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The pain of yes, of being a host. Ah, goodness. You guys, this is harder than I thought, okay? Stop talking to yourself. I promise you I have such a good point too, and you miss it all. You know what? It's just life. Sometimes you just have to live with it. You would never know how good of a point I just made for that silent portion of it. Okay, so cut to. Can you imagine if somebody would have paid me to do this show? I would have gotten fired by now. All right, so let's go. Let me reiterate what I was trying to say here. I can't even. I can't. Don't sweat it. Thank you so much. Okay, so what I was saying is that he is over kind of hyped on the part in which we were like operationally losing money left and right, as if we're like, hundreds of millions of dollars losing money on the operational end of it. So my point is that, I mean, if you look at the, trailing 12 over here, it's only $17 million, And I'm thinking, okay, so yes, it's a pain point for sure. We're operating in a, environment in which the consumer is like, not even like able to kind of have a footing or have a break, right? Their income doesn't keep up with the inflation. And so what do you have? You have an economy that is in a constraint. So yes, the distraction is coming from that for sure. I want it to be a little bit better, at least, coming positive, but $17 million is not that much to concern. So how could you fix that? You fix that by, closing down a few more stores. So we already know that France and French country, and Canadian is going to be, the next to go. So hopefully those amount of stores going to be cutting down the operational expenses, and so we're going to be, operating at a positive again. And I was pointing out the cash flow positive. So for we are flipping to the positive again. For a couple of quarters there, we were unable to be a cash flow positive, but again, it fluctuates, right? It teeter-totting between negative and positive. So of course, again, this is a turnaround companies, right? We're trying to transition. We're trying to figure out, okay, what works, what doesn't work, and all that stuff. And people are going to be like, okay, it's been 3 years, it's been 4 years. It should be doing something by now. Well, again, in the meantime, you'll have an economy that doesn't really work out very much. So for, retail business here, look at Target, look at, what's the other one? What's the retail, Dollar Tree, Best Buy, whatever, right? I'm sure they have a decrease in sales as well, foot traffic or whatever. So cut them some slack, but with the interest payment, we have the money to survive decades to come without doing anything, right? Of course, if they buy Bitcoin with it, it's going to be even better. But that's remain to be seen. Anyway, so this guy, again, overhyped to the point where if you're not looking into how much they actually lost, you would have thought that, oh my God, it's like hundreds of millions of dollars lost here. And keep in mind, this $17 million, this is a year. It's not even a quarter. So I'm telling you, it's not that much.
Companies buying Bitcoin. The only thing is that a company that doesn't actually produce earnings, right, that limits their potential. So the big takeaway for the operating costs from GameStop is that their revenue alone doesn't actually cover their operating costs. So they are actually operating at a loss, even though they've been able to shore up about $5 billion that currently they aren't touching. In all fairness, they have had some profitability in some quarters. The only problem is that it hasn't really been consistent. And as I said, they've got over $4.6 billion in cash. And let's face it, Ryan Cohen and his management team could do something with this. And of course, Bitcoiners are thinking and hoping that he's going to buy Bitcoin. And according to the announcement that we had yesterday, yes, indeed, he has committed to adding Bitcoin to their treasury. So GameStop's ability to generate revenue from operations is actually under pressure, right? As I just explained, they actually operated at a loss in terms of their operating income. So essentially, what that means is that the money they bring in does not cover what is needed for daily operations in that business. So GameStop's best bet is to figure out alternate streams of revenue. Now, of course, one of those streams of revenue that's being considered is adding Bitcoin to its treasury. But as most of us know, or I don't know how many people want to deny it or not, but essentially the only way to turn that Bitcoin into revenue without selling it is to dilute your shareholders. So I would assume that beyond GameStop being able to add new revenue streams to their business that doesn't involve diluting shareholders, I unfortunately believe that is right now the only way that he can infuse money into the business is by diluting shareholders. So the summary for GameStop is,
This guy, by the little shareholder. Well, okay, well, I know. Dilution usually is like bad, right? Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. For this one, it doesn't, right? It doesn't dilute shareholder value. No, because it adds more value to the shareholder. Don't believe me? Okay, well, look at this. When you bought over here, guess what? You bought at 50% equity. Why 50% equity? Back then, book value, was $4 a share. Okay, around there. Okay, $4 a share. Okay, and the price was around 10. So I should say 5, huh? But for this math, you have to be like, a little bit imaginative. Okay, so there you go. Around 4 something. I mean, you could go back and look at it yourself. I'm a bit too lazy. Okay, this is my show, so I got to do whatever I want. And if you were to account here, this is about the same, right? 50. So they've been diluting bejesus out of people, right? So why dilution increase the value for this company? Well, because every dilution goes to the shareholder equity and it stays there, right? Until he, do something with it, obviously. He's been buying marketable security. Marketable security begets more money, begets more, more money, even more money, right? That's why you're seeing this interest payment coming in every single year. Oh my gosh, you guys, like, how is this not, like, every time these people, like, telling me this, I'm like, really? Do you not look at the balance sheet yourself and really, have some critical thinking a little bit here? It's like, oh, dilution means bad. Well, again, there's a unique, opportunity for every single company. Company has different, ways of generating income for sure. And so, again, because of the way that the company is setting up for GameStop, somehow, again, if you're a long-term shareholder, here's what Ryan Cohen is doing right now by diluting. He's turning short-term speculator into a long-term shareholder. You get it? Like, I'm telling you, like, if you really understand what Ryan Cohen is trying to do, and again, in the meantime, he's trying to transform this company, right? The best way he knows how. This, I know it's the slowest way, but that's the only way to reinvigorate businesses, right? Now, you might want GME to build a rocket one day. Okay, I know, I want that too. But you cannot build a rocket business in 1 year. Okay, you need some cash, you need some money. So, what a better way to get some money? Yes, you dilute shareholder, by adding more, adding more to the what is it, a treasury. And yes, he's going to turn it into Berkshire Hathaway, for sure. In due time, you will find out, right? Business is going to become cheaper one day. Hopefully, those great businesses that he wants to buy into and have a controlling stake and all that stuff, that is still coming, you guys. Currently, we have Bitcoin. So let's just be happy with that for now. Okay? Don't be naysayers. I know there's a lot of people who hate this company. I get that. But goodness, can we be like civil a little bit here? Like, anyway, sorry, let me read the Carter. I read this comment and laughing. Laugh. I know, I think Moran's talked about that one. That's funny. Okay, all right. I just started watching myself a few minutes ago. Be more went into silent mode. All right, I remember that. Okay, so how many did you get from the show? Okay. All right, no clue. Okay. Well, I got to say I don't like to be diluted. I know. But you have to understand what dilution is, right? Well, not to say that you don't understand dilution. Yes, in the short term, it sucks. I get it. But you know who hurts the most on the dilution news? A call option holder. So there are short-term bet people. They're just speculating. They're not here to stay. So what Ryan Cohen wants is a long-term shareholder who will hold the shares without, again, right, for a little bit longer than a year. I think so, right? Because again, that's what you want, the stability of a company, so that when you go out and raise money, you don't see this swing, of emotion of shareholder who just here for the short term. Okay, and again, he is building a reputation for GameStop right now as a respected, most, what is it? As a respected business or a holding company of some sort for the future. And so in order to have that, you need all this short-term speculation out. That's it, right? So, of course, again, short interest and all that stuff, I'm sure this is why he feels so inclined to raise as much money and take as much advantage of this volume and all that stuff. And again, when he doesn't dilute on like low volume, you guys. He waited until this volume here, or at least some sort of like spike in volume. So be in the lookout for another dilution. And I'm all for that. Like every time he dilute, I get more, dollar into my book calculation, right? So remember, when I say, $50 a share, anything under $50 a share, I'm all for it, you guys. So hold on, let me show you my diagram here. I still have it. And it's because of the book value. Okay. You've seen it before. So let me show this graph again. This one used to be like $32. Okay, this this thing. So now with Bitcoin, right? That floor for me, or fair value for me, is going to be above 50. Okay, so again, depends on how many Bitcoins, right? And how much Bitcoin is going to be sold for at that particular time. And so you could really, this is going to be varied. So because of the book value. So I usually use the Best Buy, book value, price to book. So this is 5 times. So assuming it's $10. So now it's going to be more than $10 because we've had since 2 quarters already that were profitable. So yeah, I need to change this. So that's where I got $50 from. So anything lower than this, it's fair game for me. So right now I have to raise it to this level right here. So again, anything under this is fair value for me. I don't mind to add under this lens here. And then anything above and 100, I add a little. Again, this is my long-term Roth IRA type of scheme over here. Okay. But as far as my trading account, of course, I'm going to bet on call options. Of course, I have a few calls still open until April. I plan to add more, obviously, because if tariffs hits and people freaking out and all that stuff, that's the best buying opportunity. Buying the dip type thing. So, I'm prepared, you guys. Prepared for everything. Everything. Okay, Einstein. Okay, I would like to be at your price. You will see it. You will see it for sure.
Is this, right? Even though they've got the $5 billion, their revenue from operations is not currently sufficient to sustain the business without leaning into its cash reserves. So while GameStop has a huge runway with all of its cash reserves, it still needs to figure out how to transform its business model into something more successful that actually generates revenue, positive revenue from operations. Pleb Underground is brought to you by KnowHue. Go check them out at knowhue.com. They are building the Amazon for Bitcoiners, a one-stop shop for Bitcoin-only brands. New brands are going to be added every month, so go check them out. Triangle. Go check it out at cyphersafe.io of Ryan Cohen essentially claiming to turn GameStop into a Berkshire Hathaway. Now, look, that is very nice to hear, right? If you are in traditional markets and you are buying equities, a CEO saying that he wants to model his business around Berkshire Hathaway is like, I've just made it. This guy is serious. He's low time preference, and we're going to get loaded, right? We all going to make it. But the reality is this. There have been several CEOs throughout history that have touted that they wanted to convert their business into a type of Berkshire Hathaway, or to attempt to lead investors into believing that their business would eventually become a Berkshire Hathaway type of business. And essentially Berkshire Hathaway, without going into the long history, right? Originally that it was a failing textile company, which Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger successfully turned around and turned it into a massive investment vehicle, which today, I mean, the average investor dreams of having Berkshire Hathaway stock. But this took a lot of time, and they did a lot of moves that people really didn't like. And what Berkshire Hathaway was doing was boring. Okay.
Yeah, that's what you want. I'm telling you, this is boring. Okay, so in 10 years, you could make a life-changing money. You wouldn't want that. And all you have to do is just buy into the shares, right? If you believe it in long term, obviously. And so again, with Warren Buffett, yes, it took quite some time. It took like 30 years or something, right, for the fund to really take off. But it's the compound, the compound, small little tiny incremental change, and then it's adding up, to the big snowball later of avalanche, of just, goodness. Okay. but my point here is that you have a technology now that it takes probably half the time. And if he's adding Bitcoin to this mix, oh my goodness. Come on, this is high growth, pristine collateral in the next 20 years over here, right? I'm telling you. Bitcoin is going to become this center stage of pristine collateral in 20 years from now. And so, GME has the ability to at least become the next MicroStrategy, right? It could be. But let me, where was I think Bitcoin bond. Yes. There was legislation or some, okay, he's thinking right now, what the hell? Okay, sorry. I guess there was a proposal of investment policy to Bitcoin enhanced treasury. Okay, so the idea is to incorporate Bitcoin growth into the bond. I mean, come on, okay? Wake up, you guys! Wake up! Okay. So I'm saying, Berkshire Hathaway is just a peanuts here. I'm telling you because of the growth that is to come, based on just Bitcoin alone. So, it's gonna be that asset class that people are flocking into, institution and the like. And no longer the discussion is about how volatile it is. Yes, volatility, you have to live with it if you want to, return, 60% in a year, every single year, on average. Yes, of course. That again, but the 60% is not gonna ever, stay at 60% every year. As more and more people join, you're gonna see the volatility is going to be to taken away from Bitcoin. The reason why you see the volatility right now is because I'm telling you, majority of people are here just for the short-term speculation aspect of it. That's it. They're happy with just 20%, 50% or whatever, or 2x, 3x, right? And they don't really come here for the long-term, prospect of this asset class. And so, just like how Ryan Cohen is trying to turn, and this is my speculation, obviously, to turn, short-term speculator on his stock into a long-term shareholder eventually. You're not going to see that stability that he is trying to achieve right now with GameStop here. But by that time, of course, right now, if you want to buy Berkshire Hathaway, right, people are going to be like, this is so boring. Like in 10 years, I'm only, 3 times my money. Although that's beating the market too. I think the traditional sense to the percentage for you to double your money in a S&P 500, you have to leave your investment in like 7 years. I think that's the 7 years you double your money. So now with Bitcoin, and this bond, it's going to amplify the yield for the bond. So that's huge, you guys. This is huge because then it puts Bitcoin as even more pristine than marketable security. Yes. Think of it that way. Because marketable security, yes, it's highly pristine. It's a highly pristine collateral that people could use because, again, the U.S. government keep printing more money to buy bonds, right? So there's a a market for it always. People are going to want to buy bonds from you. But the only problem with bond is that, again, the government print money to buy bond. They could they could do that. So technically bond is inflationary as well. But Bitcoin though, it's not. But you could use Bitcoin as a collateral in order to raise more money, like what MicroStrategy is doing right now. See what I mean? So again, it's just for me, it's a no-brainer for sure. Okay. Trust the plan. Yes, Einstein, I like that. Okay. All right. On Discord, you got see it. I think she's aiming for 10 billion. He's aiming for 10 billion. Hey, I wouldn't be mad at that either. In Bitcoin, you mean? When is the next Bitcoin happening? Not quite sure, but the last happenings already happened. So let's look into it real quick. When is the next Bitcoin happening events? Okay. According to this one, 2028. That's what it says. 2028. Which is 3 years from now. Okay. So with this one, Binance, I wish I could use one of these right here. Okay. Happening. Why is it? Okay, here we go. So it just happened. 24 right there. Okay, so every time it makes it goes half. Every halving event, it would skyrocket the price. Okay, it went from 10,000 to 50,000 up here. Same thing's gonna happen here. Of course, we're right here right now. The extension, a little bit more extension, right? It takes people time. I'm sure this is more of the time frame that we are in. So maybe the next peak, it's just going to be one peak and we're going to be done. This one, we have 2 peaks. Okay. So the next one, it's going to be a little bit different, but it's not by much, you guys. I feel like by the end of this year, again, this is why I said the end of this year, you're going to see it peak. So it went from $600 to, I think, what's the peak? Like $20,000. That's crazy. That was crazy. This piqued my attention for sure, and this is when I learned. When I learned to like, oh man, I should have buy and hold type thing. But then, I end up. I think which one was the one I. No, I think this is the cycle I went in over here. When it reached this level over here, I went in, cash out around 32 something, and then went into Ethereum. So that's when I was like, okay, because I knew that Ethereum's gonna follow Bitcoin movement. So I was a little smarter the second time around. But still not as smart as a long-term shareholder. You see what I mean? A long-term Bitcoin holder at all. Okay, so is Satoshi a threat to Bitcoin? How would I know that, Einstein? Like, I'm not the creator of Bitcoin. Is he a threat? Well, hopefully he's a benevolent, figure. Or he or she or, a group of people that are creating Bitcoin. Again, it could be a group of people, right? We don't know how many people are actually putting their head together to try to invent Bitcoin to solve the economic problem that we have right now. Of course, Bitcoin is trying to solve the inflationary problem that we have with the fractional reserve banking and, of course, the Federal Reserve way of, conducting their business. And I listened to, okay, let's end with this guy here. I'm sure if you want to watch him later, you can. But just to learn a little bit more about Bitcoin, I would suggest watching this gentleman here because I feel like he explained very well the concept of Bitcoin and how it is better for society to have this type of system. I know. People are going to be like, this is crazy to think about. Hold on one second. I think his name is Jeff Booth or something. Jeff Booth. Where did it go? Goodness, you guys. This has to be the greatest show on earth. I'm sorry, guys. Why are you here? I feel like this is the maximum cultish behavior. What the heck? Where did it? What? I'm just gonna oops. I just forgot his name. There you go. But I want not that one. I think this one right here.
What Bitcoin is
okay, so this gentleman here, I highly recommend listening to him. Because again, when he explained Bitcoin in this sense, I'm like, oh, okay, I've never thought of it that way. Ryan Cohen, forget Bitcoin, just buy gold bar. Okay, gold is fine, but then you need places to store it, vehicle with armor and things. So technically it's, it costs money. Well, Bitcoin, you just create a wallet and hopefully, you get to keep the keys for yourself. Self-custody, right? Type thing. So it hardly costs anything to hold Bitcoin. Happening just happened. So going down then. No, it's not. It's going up. Satoshi has much. Okay, cool. Yes, Bitcoin as a call is the best. Okay, cool. Degenerate behavior even. Okay. If Ryan Cohen tell me to drink the Kool-Aid, I will drink the Kool-Aid. Sure. Good. Yes. Let's drink it. I mean, it's okay. There's no poison in there at all.
It's an open, decentralized, secure protocol bounded by energy. And it resolves that control system. It allows us to escape the control system in favor of a protocol that allows all of the benefits of our productivity around the world to accrue to us instead of someone else. And that state change that the world is going through, if you're measuring that state change from the state change, it would be really confusing.
Anyway, I'm going to skip because
have you seen this?
I feel like
it's absolutely insane. Look at the presentation on what's inside this.
That all my wealth is in.
Now, the deflationary versus the free market. So let's listen into that one.
And now I'm making different decisions based on my own personal needs of this thing. So you find the incentives kind of misaligned on a lot of these other coins. But by the way, if you follow the early internet protocol development, you found a lot of competing ideas, many centralized companies trying to control the internet, right? Trying to have something out, and this is the one we're going to use. But the open decentralized protocol beat them all, and they all failed. And then it extended functionality through that same process. So that's the process that's happening in Bitcoin, and it feels messy. but it's actually not messy. It's that messiness is part of the evolution that resolves this paradox of us living in a system of control and moving to one of freedom.
So let's talk a little bit about that system of control. So you have your book, again, The Price of Tomorrow. I highly recommend everybody give it a read or a listen. It was very transformational for me in my Bitcoin journey. I think it helped a lot of things that I felt I maybe intuitively understood but couldn't put into words. It helped me understand them. And maybe it's a good thing to just kind of break down what exactly is the central thesis there as it relates to, the title is, talks about deflation. Now that's key for an abundant future. But people may be saying, deflation, I thought that was bad. Or deflation, I don't even know what that is because all I hear about is inflation and the price of my groceries and gas and houses and everything going up. So can you break that down a little about this control structure that we live in? How does that actually work? And how is it that there's this mismatch between that you have identified in this book? Stop earning dirty fiat rewards. Stack sats on everyday spending with the 2% Bitcoin Rewards Credit Personal Finance Hub for spending dollars and stacking sats.
And I think you have to start and you have to say what I'm about to say over and over and over and over again until your brain really grapples with it. The natural state of the free market is deflation. In other words, you only use things that give you more value. And all companies, all entrepreneurs, anything that's kind of willed into existence from our brains have to compete against what was there before. And you only use the things that give you more value. So you are a part of the thing that is the natural state of the free market. The entire globe, 8 billion people's ideas competing for you. The output of that has to be deflation. And then as we create more ideas, let's use an idea, AI, right? And we compete to provide better tools in AI. The people will use those things to remove labor faster, to be able to provide more value. Because if they don't provide more value, the company that does provide more value will kill them. Why will the company that provides more value kill them? Because you won't use the one with less value. So you are an integral part of creating the natural state of the free market is deflation. And it's not zero inflation. It's deflation, like faster and faster deflation, where if you didn't work, everybody working and everybody doing the world work would benefit you anyways, because prices, everything would fall faster and faster and faster for you forever. So if that's the natural state of the world, and technology is a supercharger of that, and when you say technologies, think about it, it's just different ideas that we're trying to solve problems to be more efficient. And those ideas, so that in that world, anything that's scarce creates an attack of entrepreneurs because there's more money where the scarcity lies, and an attack of entrepreneurs to solve problems for us that results in prices falling. And so that process describes really clearly why the global free market is deflationary and faster deflation. And why you have to start there is you've never seen that world. Ever. There's no history book that describes that world for any length of time. We know it's true.
That's really important point there, because again, it should be, the technology should make the cost of goods and services lower and lower because of the technology, right? I mean, think about like the productivity in which you could do your job right now versus, 30 years ago without computer. Right? Without computer, people would still writing, whatever, receipts on hand. Now you're just generating it with a click of a mouse, right? While it used to take people, like even stock lending or stock brokerage or whatever, right? It used to be, for people to deliver the stock certificate to you, it takes 5, 6, 7 days, right? They literally have to, even, not 5, 6, 7 days, sorry. Take up to a month sometime because they would hop on the horse and buggies, right? And kind of deliver it like that. And so when the advantageous of technology, like, computer, internet, and all that stuff, now you could do it with the snap of a finger, even just seconds at a time. And so that's the point he's trying to make, is that, over time with technology, it should be a deflationary world. So why do we have inflation?
Yet we measure our world in a different world. So then we have to ask, why do prices go up? What's stopping that? Because something has to be stopping it. And the stopping of it is more and more manipulation of money, just creating more units of money to be able to make prices go up relative to those units of money. And then we fight within that system for control of it. Who gets to print the more units of money and who gets to exploit others from that system. And trying to get richer and richer in a zero-sum game, right? Where everybody's losing in a system, even the rich. If you can't come out of your house because you're scared of the poor rising with pitchforks to be able to take it back from you, then you're losing too in that zero-sum game. You might think you're winning, but you're not long-term. You're in a zero-sum game that typically gets reset through global conflict, killing millions of people. That then we say, we promise not to do it again, where it starts again. The entire history of money is through that exact same lens, by stopping by an exploitative control system that gets worse and worse and worse and divides people to be able to resolve this. And
I mean, that's a perfect point as well, because like you see a lot of conflict around the world and you wonder why, and I'm thinking, because of the money issue, right? Like certain country that aren't able to earn, and then they become terrorism and all that stuff, and of course, like getting fund through US aid anyway. Based on what Elon Musk was Doge, the Department of Doge, revealing that certain conflict that happens is being kind of brewed and created in order to cause chaos, so that people don't really think about why are things so expensive when it should be deflationary, when we have the technology to solve any type of problems right now, where, yes, you could solve world hunger with just, a stroke of a pen. You could solve an energy crisis with a stroke of a pen too. We could print trillions of dollars in what, a year? And you're telling me that, you couldn't solve all this problem? The reason being is that it's only to prop up a debt-based system that continue to suck the value out of, society. You, me, your energy, your work, your life force, and all that stuff. So, and so if you're unable to preserve those life force, because money is time. Time is money. Right? So if they are able to just inflating you away 2% a year, and even 2% a year is a lot, right? And people don't realize that until like 10 years later, like, why am I not able to buy a house? Right? When, I know more, I'm more experienced at work, why I'm not able to earn more? I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm a whatever, right? It's crazy. And again, this is through the system of what we have right now, where, Federal Reserve just print money out of nowhere, and then there you go. They get to use it. And they are the one who use it because they are closer to the money printing. They have the first mover advantage to use that money way before us could do. And that's why the global money supply don't trickle down until 30 months later. Something like that. Like, again, the trickle down economic type thing, where yes, they print billions of dollars, they give it to some corporation, goods and services, and those corporation, what they do with that money? They just buy their own stock back. Right? Apple does it. There was an airline that they bailed out during COVID or whatever. They just buy their stock back, and CEO bonuses and all that stuff. And so this type of system, we've been living in that system for oh my God, since 1913, right? Close to 100 years. So within this 100 years, like what he was saying, like, it's not a free market. Right? Yes, we may feel like it's a free market, stock market and all that stuff, but that's bullcrap. I mean, if you're blind to that, I feel like it's a bit, too late to explain to you, but it's okay. I mean, you could still make money, but again, like just like he's saying, it's a zero-sum game. You're smarter than the rest of the people in the market, of course, you're gonna make some. But you're still within the debt-based system when you convert into fiat currency, right? That fiat will be inflated based on the inflation printing, global here. It's not just the US that does this. And that's why you see a lot of, things getting more expensive because more dollars chasing the same item. There's too much dollars being printed all at once.
Bitcoin is the first time in history that we've ever had something that can resolve that conflict and allow all of the abundance that we create to flow to us. The first global free market that's ever existed.
This is the aircraft carrier shelter.
That's crazy.
Seized.
In a free market, and all of the benefits that we should be getting, that humanity should be, receiving essentially because of all the technological innovation, because of everybody trying to compete and work harder to make something better. All of that is basically being stolen away because people in power can turn on the money printer, so to speak, and create more units of the currency, and they must do that faster than the rate of prices naturally falling because of technology. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the rate of printing has to offset and more. Right. So prices have to go up because if you allow deflation from a credit, if a system is based on credit and you allow deflation, the credit is reset. And so no one, when we say those people, there isn't a person even in Bitcoin that I know would say stop the printing completely, because every single thing would fail. Every bank would fail. All of the houses, all of the real estate that people think they have and is valued, it would all completely fail to zero because the entire credit-based system is based on the credit. That if you allow deflation from it, the thing collapses. So we have to be careful in our words. It's not those bad people, right? It's us in that system not wanting it to fail, and then thinking that there's some savior within that system, when it's actually us. Almost the hypocrisy of us believing in one part of our lives we want lower and lower prices, and in the other part of our lives, our assets, our houses, and then stocks, we want higher prices, right? And it's nuts. But those systems have to be connected because they're connected through us. So we're making one system. So all of our votes, this side or this side, are just ludicrous from a system that must steal more money. And I want to pick up on something you said, because we've never lived in a free market. Well, it's not totally true. There's been more free markets, right, in time, like in the Great Deflation in the late 1800s in the U.S., where middle class was rising. In fact, the rise of the U.S. was the Constitution, which provided freedom of the individual, more ideas. More people moved from control systems in Europe to the U.S. because they could get their start. They could leave a system where they could, and yes, it was harder. It was they had to leave the comforts of their home, and they had to create ideas. But those ideas propelled the U.S. to be a superpower because free markets are more competitive, and so you had more ideas. And for a while, it looked like a free market until that free market became a control system through the Federal Reserve, and then exploited other nations in the same way that Europe used to exploit other nations. So this has been repeating throughout. It constantly repeats. And what I was specific there is Bitcoin is the first global free market where everybody gets to participate, not just one nation.
That's crazy too, right? One technology could really, again, if you're well versed on it, right? But how many people, how many population out there are owning Bitcoin, right? So it might be, 20% at the moment, I would say, the whole global holding. But even then, I don't think even 20% hold Bitcoin. So unless you know the network, then you get to participate. But the only thing that stops you from participating in the network is to learn about Bitcoin, right? Once you know how to buy, sell, and store your own Bitcoin, then you're able to participate in that. So that's what I mean by global free market. Anyone could participate. All right, guys, it's kind of late, and I'm gonna have to go. But I do appreciate you coming in. I know we're all excited about this particular tiny company here, but I want you to learn a little bit more about Bitcoin. I know. I've learned it, and I still need to learn more. Even though I knew about Bitcoin, I am still dumb enough to sell it. You see what I mean? So you never stop learning in this life, and I'm telling you. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Sometimes you just have to live and learn. But it's okay, as long as you're on the right path. And I'm sure you're going to be fine in life, okay? All right, guys, I will let you go. I will let me see, just verifying whether I'm missing any points. I don't think so. Okay, I think I'm good. All right, guys, bye. Can you say can't stop, won't stop, Gamestop before you go? No, I cannot. I just read that, so I hope that's sufficient. Thank you. Your Bitcoin price target. Yes, it's infinite for sure. A fraction of infinite. Yes. All right, guys. Okay, I go. Bye.